Have you ever noticed that in a room full of loud, expressive people, there's always that one person who says almost nothing? They sit back, maybe with a slight, unreadable expression, just watching. Society usually looks at that person and assumes they're shy, socially anxious, or maybe they just have nothing to say. But if you've ever been that quiet person, you know the truth is much more complex. Why does the quietest person in the room often see the most? Today, we are breaking down what psychology calls the observer's burden, and why your silence isn't a lack of social skill. It's actually a high level social strategy. In the world of the explained self, human behavior only makes sense when you understand the hidden mechanics behind it. Your brain isn't glitching or failing to socialize, it is likely operating on a higher frequency, processing data that most people are too busy talking to notice. You aren't weird for being quiet, and you definitely aren't broken. You are likely using rare neurological tools to navigate a world that is often too loud and too shallow for your depth of thought. Today, we're going to unmask the hidden mechanics of your silence. We're going to explore why, once you realize nobody cares, you win, and why your ability to stay silent is actually your greatest biological strength. Welcome to MindVeilx, where we dive into the science of the unseen. Let's get into it. The first reason you don't talk much is because your brain is currently in what we call the data acquisition phase. Most people use conversation to perform or to seek validation. They talk to fill the silence because they are afraid of what they might think if the noise stops. But for a deep thinker, silence isn't empty, it's full of information. When you are quiet, your brain is utilizing intuitive pattern recognition. You aren't just listening to words, you are picking up on micro expressions, tonal shifts, and the hidden intentions behind a person's smile. You are essentially a walking human lie detector, performing a real time vibe check on everyone in the room. This is the observer's burden. Because you see more than you should, you often find it difficult to engage in the social mask that others are wearing. Think about it. Have you ever been in a group where everyone was laughing at a joke that felt fake to you? You stayed quiet because you could see the underlying tension or the insecurity of the person telling the joke. This is your high bandwidth filter at work. Your brain refuses to waste cognitive energy on social noise that doesn't offer real intellectual fuel. You would rather be lonely but happy in your own thoughts than participate in a conversation that feels like a low resolution simulation of reality. Your silence isn't a sign that you have nothing to say. It's a sign that you are currently busy downloading 100% of the sensory data around you, while everyone else is only seeing 50%. The second reason quiet people are often the smartest in the room is a process called metacognitive auditing. If you are someone who rereads your own sent messages or replays conversations in your head to find social glitches, this is for you. When a normal person thinks of something, they usually say it immediately. But for rare mind, there is a massive internal delay. This isn't because you're slow, it's because you are running a social simulation. Before a single word leaves your mouth, your brain has already analyzed three different ways that sentence could be interpreted, how it might affect the person you're talking to, and whether or not it aligns with the absolute truth. This is why you might seem quiet or slow to respond in a fast paced argument. You are busy metacognitively auditing your thoughts to ensure precision. You value truth more than your own ego, which is why you often find yourself saying, I'm not sure, or it depends, when everyone else is shouting over confident opinions. This is the Dunning Kruger reverse. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know, which naturally leads to a more silent, observant lifestyle. You aren't overthinking, you are performing a high level data audit to ensure that when you do speak, your words have the weight of 1,000 shallow sentences. The third strategy at play here is selective excellence. Society tells you that being a social butterfly is the goal, but in the world of high IQ individuals, we realize that having too many interests and having few friends is often a sign of a high functioning mind. If you don't talk much, it's often because you have a very low tolerance for small talk. Small talk feels like a physical drain on your nervous system. It's what we call being secretly drained by guests. To you, talking about the weather or celebrity gossip is like trying to run a high-end computer on a dial-up connection. It's inefficient and offers no data-rich rewards. You choose silence because you are socially selective. You realize that once you realize nobody cares, you win. You no longer feel the need to perform for people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is why you might be the black sheep of your family, or the person who rarely gets invited to shallow social events. You aren't being excluded. You are protecting your peace. You have realized that your energy is your most valuable currency, and you refuse to spend it on social filler that doesn't feed your soul. This is the psychology of people who choose to be alone. It's not a retreat from life. It's a strategic move to prioritize your own internal stimulation over external noise. One of the most interesting hidden mechanics of being quiet is how it affects other people. Have you ever noticed that people sometimes act weird or nervous around you, even when you haven't done anything? This is because silence, eye contact, and the ability to stay calm are some of the most intimidating traits a human can possess. Most people rely on social noise to feel safe. When they talk, they are looking for cues from you, nods, ahas, and verbal validation to tell them that they are doing okay. When you remain silent and just watch them, you are removing that safety net. You are effectively holding up a mirror to their own insecurities. This is why you should fear the quietest person in the room. They're the only ones who aren't performing. Because you aren't participating in the performance, people don't know where they stand with you. They can't figure out your hidden intentions because you aren't giving them any data to work with. This makes you impossible to manipulate. Manipulators and fake friends thrive on verbal cues and emotional reactions. When you stay silent, you are cutting off their oxygen. You are using your silence as a social shield, forcing toxic people to eventually disappear because they can't find a hook in your personality to grab onto. Your silence isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of a rare kind of strength that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. The final part of the observer's burden is the realization that you no longer need to explain yourself. This is a common trait among those who had to grow up too fast or those who have gone through too much. You've reached a point where you realize that walking away from people silently is the most effective way to handle conflict. If you find yourself talking less, it might be because you've mastered the psychology of people who stop explaining themselves. You've learned that when you're done, you're done. No closure, no second chances, and no long-winded arguments. You've realized that people will only understand you from their level of perception, and no amount of talking will change that. This is the silent exit strategy. It's the ultimate move for protecting your peace. You would rather be unwanted by a crowd of shallow people than wanted by staying in a situation that drains your soul. You've realized that you don't owe the world your voice, especially if the world isn't listening. This rare mindset is what allows you to carry everything alone without breaking, because your strength comes from within, not from external social validation. You are a deep thinker who has found that the most profound truths are often found in the spaces between words. If you recognized yourself in these glitches and strategies, I want you to stop feeling guilty for being the quiet one. You aren't weird, and you definitely aren't antisocial. You are simply operating on a high frequency signal in a world that is still stuck on dial up. Your silence is your rare radar. It is the tool you use to navigate the signs of the unseen. You are an observer, a deep thinker, and someone who possesses a rare kind of strength. Your silence isn't a lack of presence, it is the ultimate form of presence. It is the ability to be completely yourself, without needing the noise of others to prove that you exist. But I have to ask, which of these reasons for staying quiet hit you the hardest? Was it the vibe check, or the moment you realized you don't need to explain yourself anymore? Tell your story in the comments below. I read as many as I can because your experiences are what make MindVeilx a home for the deep thinkers. If this video made you feel a little less weird and a lot more understood, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep unmasking the hidden mechanics of your mind together. Until next time, protect your peace,